Pingu and the friend on the ice floe a warm friendship. There was nothing more boring for Pingu than being alone on the ice floe, surrounded by snow as far as the eye could see. His igloo was comfortable, but he couldn't help but feel bored. One day, as he was walking along the ice floe, Pingu decided to find something to do to occupy his mind. He started by trying to fish, but the fish stubbornly refused to bite. He then tried to carve an ice statue, but his lack of talent quickly discouraged him. Finally, Pingu had a crazy idea. What if he did some mischief to entertain himself? He entered his igloo and began to mess everything up, overturning furniture, knocking over objects, and even removing the cushions from his bed to make a snow mountain. He was so absorbed in his mischief that he didn't realize that a storm was brewing outside. When he finally emerged from his igloo, he was caught off guard by the swirling wind and snow. Frightened, Pingu started running to find his way back, but the visibility was so poor that he quickly got lost. After hours of wandering in the storm, Pingu was beginning to despair. He was cold, hungry, and felt terribly alone. Suddenly he saw a silhouette in the distance. It was another penguin who seemed to be looking for him. Pingu rushed towards him, shouting for help. The other penguin warmly welcomed him and took him to his igloo, where a delicious hot soup was waiting for him. Pingu immediately felt grateful towards his new companion. The two penguins spent a fabulous evening chatting, laughing, and playing together. Pingu realized how lucky he was to have found this new friend. The next morning, the storm had calmed down, and Pingu decided to go back home. Before leaving, he promised to come back and visit his friend as soon as possible. On his way, he thought about all the silly things he had done and promised himself not to get bored anymore because he now had someone to share his days with. From that day on, Pingu spent his time exploring the ice floe, playing with his new friend and discovering new adventures. He had finally found a way to have fun without getting into trouble, and he felt happier than ever. And if he ever got bored again, he now knew that his friend would be there to keep him company. Now, Pingu knew that life on the ice floe was never boring again, and he was extremely grateful for it. And that's how Pingu lived happily for the rest of his days, surrounded by friends and new adventures.